Alright, what's up guys? I got some truly astonishing info today. I'm making videos on corrupt politicians, including the Republican Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and his shady Chinese business deals, and many other politicians, to get the truth out about the rampant corruption in both parties. But this one's on an article from the left-wing Salon.com, which is biased in Democrats' favor. So you want to call this conspiracy theories, you'll have to call the very pro-Democrat Salon.com conspiracy theorists. So here's four major earth-shattering bullet points here. Number one, Hillary Clinton and her State Department approved huge weapons and arms deals to authoritarian regimes in Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, and others, who all donated huge sums of money to the Clinton Foundation. Saudi Arabia donating between 10 to 25 million US dollars to the Clinton Foundation. Now, number two, John Podesta, he was the chief of staff to President Bill Clinton and the chairman of Hillary's 2016 presidential campaign. So he's Hillary's right-hand man. His brother, Tony Podesta, he's also intimately tied into these Clinton circles. He's the CEO of the Podesta Group. Now, the Podesta Group was hired to lobby for Sberbank, S-B-E-R-B-A-N-K, the largest financial institution in Eastern Europe, functionally an arm of the Kremlin, aka the Russian government, and controls about 30% of Russia's aggregate banking assets and employs like 250,000 people. Pretty staggering. Number three, two Clinton lobbyist bundlers, Richard Sullivan and David Jones, are principals in a firm that represented the Russia Direct Investment Fund. This is interesting. It's a sovereign wealth fund co-founded by Vladimir Putin himself when he was prime minister. Yeah, pretty astonishing. So I told you. And number four, aside from massive weapons and arms deals with the Clinton machine, and the Podesta Group has a hefty contract with the Saudi regime for which the firm provides public relations services on behalf of King Salman's royal court. Now, they paid the Podesta Group an initial project fee of $200,000, along with unspecified further payments, according to documents filed with the Justice Department Foreign Agents Registration Act office. Now, the government typically doesn't like to expose corruption and shady deals and stuff, but we do know the $200,000 initial payment, along with that there were further payments. But yeah, so they're doing deals with this Saudi Arabia that's a theocratic monarchical regime that governs according to a strict fundamentalist interpretation of Islamic law, under which women who are raped get stoned to death because I guess it's their fault for not dressing modestly enough, but and many other oppressive type laws. But Saudi Arabia also funds and exports extremism and terrorism throughout the world. They regularly behead dissidents, so if you speak out against the government, they chop your head off. They love doing that. I'll do that. I'll talk about it in my next video. And then, yeah, they refuse to grant basic rights to women. It was just last year, I think, they finally let women drive, but they still need a male guardian to leave the house. So, you know, pretty progressive stuff. Now, numerous other Washington lobbyists work on behalf of the Saudi regime. When working as a human rights lobbyist in the West, the Saudi human rights lawyer Abdulaziz Al-Hassan says he was constantly, quote, depressed by how nobody wanted to say anything about human rights in Saudi Arabia because of all the money, unquote. Al-Hassan condemned, quote, hypocrite governments in the West who support the violation of human rights for business interests, unquote. Now, the rest of this will just be my stuff here. I'll link the Salon.com article in the description. So, politicians constantly emotionally manipulate with uplifting speeches, rhetoric of fairness and justice, while using their power, influence, and your money to hook up their friends, family, their big corporate donors, and all their swampy circles. They speak of building a better society for our children, while tossing $21 trillion of federal debt onto the shoulders of innocent children and unborn children. These children don't even have a say in this, so they're selling off their futures to foreign banksters. It's deeply immoral. I mean, any politician that hasn't taken action, not rhetoric, but action, to address our massive debt, doesn't give one damn about children, aside from perhaps their own. And sadly, that's at least 90% or probably more of them these days. So probably 95% of them these days. These sociopathic parasites have traded our future well-being in their insatiable lust for their own personal power and wealth. It's pretty sickening. So basically, the first thing before we can make informed decisions is to get the truth and the information out, not just in general, because we all know that politicians and our government is really corrupt and they're liars, but we have to know specific incidents of specific politicians, which is why I'm going to start to focus on more active ones. And I talked about Mitch McConnell. I'll address that in another video. But basically, in a primary is when you can oust the corrupt politician, because most people vote straight Republican or straight Democrat because of certain ideas and ideals they have. So if you don't want to be stuck with one option, you have to just vote the Democrat or just the Republican. And you don't want to be stuck with that one option, whether or not he's corrupt. An important time to vote is in the primary, when you got like 3 Democrats, or let's say you're a Republican, you got 3 Republicans, and you can oust that corrupt liar. So, I'll try to do my part in exposing these corrupt politicians and stuff like that, getting quality information out, and so I think it's pretty important, and because they're selling off our future. It's pretty sick stuff, but yeah, that's about it right here. So pretty much, I don't know if there's anything else. Oh yeah, so I'm gonna do a video on Saudi Arabia, then, because they address Saudi Arabia slightly at the end of the Salon article. So my next video, probably within the next 48 hours, if not tonight, I'll talk about human rights, gay rights, and women's rights in Saudi Arabia. So yeah, that's about it, guys. So thanks for tuning in. If you liked it, if you liked the video, then just click like. That really helps me out a lot. And if you subscribe, just remember to click the bell, because whenever I don't click the bell, I usually only get about 10 to 20% of the notifications for new videos from those said channels that I haven't clicked the bell on. So yeah, that's about it. And you won't get spammed. I only put out about like 2 videos a week on average. So alright guys, yeah, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys really soon.